Hey guys, it's Tom. I'm here with my buddy Luke again, and 2016 is halfway done. We are recording this on the last day of June. We've had a ton of movies so far released, and we're going to have a ton more. So Luke and I thought we'd discuss what, in our opinion, were some of our favorite and some of the best movies of 2016. So Luke, just start. Throw me out one that you really liked this year.
This one was not a mainstream release. It's a Japanese movie by who I consider to be the next Hayao Miyazaki. If you're familiar with Hayao Miyazaki at all, the man's name is Mamoru Hosoda, and the film is The Boy and the Beast.
And we saw this film together.
Yes. This is a movie about paternity and family and what that means. It's without a doubt the most deep and engrossing and fantastic story that I've ever seen out of him. It makes me excited for what he has to come in the future, and it set a pretty high mark for me at the beginning of the year. I think you and I saw this for the first time in February.
I almost say February or March.
Yeah. But it was definitely one of the first movies that I actually gave a shit about.
It was like one of the first great movies this year.
Yes. Set a pretty high watermark for me. It's for those 12 of you listening, if you're interested, it is currently out on DVD and Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, when you took me to see it, I really did not have that much anime experience. I kind of just dismissed it as, it's for hardcore. But I thought I'd give it a shot. And then on the car ride back, you and I were just, talking anime about, what to watch next. Mm-hmm. And from there, you showed me Princess Mononoke, you showed me Porco Rosso. Mm-hmm. And so it really opened my eyes to be like, you know what? Yeah, there's a lot of anime out there, but there's some of it's good. It's not all.
Yeah, it's not just a genre. It's definitely an art form all of its own with its own genres. But I mean, it's like any other type of movie. There's good ones and bad ones. But yeah, if you. For those 12 of you listening, if you haven't checked it out, me and Tom highly suggest that you do so.
Go check out Boy and the Beast. Speaking of animated movies that came out early in the year, one of my most anticipated movies at the beginning of the year was...
Norm of the North?
God, no. No, I heard terrible things about that. No, if you want a different animated movie about a bear, I loved Kung Fu Panda 3.
I haven't gotten to see that one yet. I've been waiting for it to come out on video on demand, and it just came out this week. I haven't gotten to watch it yet. But why don't you tell me about that? Where would you rank it in the Kung Fu Panda
trilogy, so to speak?
Yeah.
Well, I'd probably place it between 1 and 2. They all range from good to great. There's not one that I look at and go, like Kung Fu Panda 2 is like Cars 2. For me, they range from good to great. I would say 2 is my least favorite, but that's not really saying much. This third one, I felt like it raised the emotional punch, no pun intended, some more, because in this film, Po is finally reunited with his father, because he thought he was the last of the pandas to survive. Have you seen any of that?
See, I don't mean to interrupt you, Tom, but
Sure.
That's something that seeing the trailers really bothered me about it, because I thought one of the greatest messages, strongest messages about the Kung Fu Panda as a whole is the idea of adopted parentage, and how it doesn't matter who genetically sired you, it's who raised you. Do you feel that this movie undercuts that theme at all?
I would say a big part of this movie, when Poe's real father comes in, I think Ping is his adopted father's name.
Played by Bryan Cranston.
I'm talking about the little goose father. Well, his adopted father and his real father, they have a lot of back and forth in this new movie. It's regarding who loves Poe more, what one would do for his son, because Bryan Cranston, who plays Poe's real father, he comes in and Poe just loves him, and of course the Goose Father is not taking any of this.
So it's just basically an animated version of Daddy's Home in terms of that.
But much better.
Okay. Okay.
I will say, and I will say, if this is the last one, because I don't think there's been any confirmation.
No, I've heard plans back when Kung Fu Panda 2 came out that DreamWorks is planning on making like as much as 5 Kung Fu Panda movies, and to me, it seems like the standard DreamWorks thing. The series as a whole just seems like a Jack Black version of Shrek to
Mm-hmm.
me. I mean, obviously different themes overall, but it just seems like a vehicle to allow a personality to shine in an animated sense.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I do enjoy the Kung Fu Panda movies overall more than the Shrek movies overall.
Mm-hmm.
But
I will
yeah,
say this: if they, for whatever reason, decide not to make a fourth and fifth one, just end it here, I would be okay with it because this third one ends really, really nice, and that, as the expression goes, they went out with a bang.
okay,
I would say that.
okay,
Also, anime movies that we both saw at the beginning of the movie. This was a 2015 release, but got a wide release in January. Was Anomalisa, the
yeah,
Charlie Kaufman stop motion
yeah,
film.
yeah. No, this is as Dan Harmon said on his podcast. This is a movie about adults eating pussy in a hotel room, and it's about the futility of. I know you're gonna have to bleep that, Tom, but you're gonna have to do
Well,
it.
he's not wrong.
Yeah. Uh, it's it's uh it's about the futility of monogamy and the uh, ever-present loneliness that comes with narcissism, and whether or not that's treatable or not. It's definitely. I'm hesitant to rank it as one of the best movies of this year just because it came out technically last year.
And we still have a lot of movies to come.
Yeah, yeah.
But I would say it's one of the best I've seen.
Yes, yes, but it's definitely the deepest animated movie I've seen since Princess Mononoke. It's deeper than Boy and the Beast, but it's I don't know if you're 12 people listening to this, if you're uncomfortable with watching stop motion penises flopping around.
Which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, I would not recommend watching it. But I did think it was pretty funny just to think about the poor guy's job it was to like make sure that the dick physics
Was just
worked out.
right.
Yeah.
No. No, and I even said in my original movie review back in the day that, this movie was up against Inside Out at the Oscars, and I said, hey, if this beats Inside Out, I would not be the one to be like, boo! I would say, hey, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, but if you haven't seen the movie, it's been out for months now. But the idea of having everyone else look the same and sound the same,
It's in the first 5 minutes of the movie. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler.
Right, I know. But
Yeah.
to have it actually personified like that, I thought was a brilliant move. And I was one of those people, in the first 5 minutes, I was like, I saw that face, and I heard that voice already. So I thought having all of that was great. And there's a song that plays in the end credits, and I don't know if you caught this. It's a song that Charlie Kaufman wrote, and Tom Noonan, who voices everyone else, sings, and he sings it like the same note throughout, and it's a song talking about how we do this, we do that, and it kind of just added more to that whole idea of, like you said, feeling lonely and not seeing a lot of color in the world.
Yeah, yeah. And I was actually physically upset with the fact that Anomalisa did not win over Inside Out. It's not giving Pixar Oscars.
Yeah.
They know they're good. They know they're good. You know what happens when Pixar knows that they're good? Cars 2. You know what happens when Pixar is scared and they don't know if they're good? Toy Story and Toy Story 3. Okay? I'm sorry, I don't mean to get on a tangent too much.
But hey, we're gonna get Toy Story 4 and Cars 3 next year, or in 2 years, or whatever.
Whoever the hell said that Toy Story 4 was a good idea clearly works in marketing.
Pretty much. I've spoken to everyone about that. They're like, we could have ended right there at 3, but the more I think about it, I'm like, hey, I'll watch Buzz and Woody do stuff.
Yeah, but it's just...
But they already have those.
You emotionally undercut the entire point of the third movie by virtue of the fourth movie existing.
Mm-hmm.
If this was just one of those BS ABC things,
specials,
ABC specials,
yeah, they've done a few of those.
Yeah, then I wouldn't mind. But I don't know. We've talked more about Toy Story 4 than I'm pretty sure any executive at Disney's talked about Toy Story 4. So let's move on. I really enjoyed Deadpool.
Oh yeah.
For those that cannot already tell, which is probably all of you. Jeez, I haven't really been on here too much. But you can't. Those of you that are not in my room, Tom can tell you, it is surrounded by comic book memorabilia and comic books.
And I can affirm that.
Yes.
Just picture it, listeners.
Yeah, Deadpool. It was the character that actually got me into comic books with the Jerry Duggan and Brian Posehn run, which I believe to be the funniest and most deeply personal Deadpool stories ever told. But this movie did not disappoint.
No, it did not.
Yeah, it was, for the most part, it was laugh a minute. The only issue that I had was the origin sequence, which was a little bit. It didn't fall flat. It was just very meandering in tone, and it just felt like they thought that it needed to be there. What do you think?
Like you couldn't tell if they were trying to go all comical or all seriousness. They kind of shifted tones.
Not sometimes, yes, but I like the pacing. I guess is what I meant. Was it had such a rapid fire pace up to that,
and it kind of
it slowed down so severely that I almost got. I hesitate to say the word whiplash, but I almost got whiplash.
Mm-hmm. Well, then you make a good point. I do remember seeing that sequence and thinking, it was kind of like the first breath you took because everything was rapid paced. But luckily, shortly after that, it picked up the pace again. So, I mean, I watched the film the second time, and then I didn't have a problem with it. But then the more I've seen it since then, it doesn't bother me as much. But I see your point. Yeah, Deadpool was phenomenal. It was funny, going into this year, the two superhero films, Deadpool and Suicide Squad, Marvel versus DC. At the start of this year, I would have said I was more excited for Suicide Squad. And now Deadpool came out and blew me away, so now I'm really looking forward to see what Suicide Squad can do.
Yeah. And to be fair, they're going to be, I don't know how, I don't think any of the 12 people listening are, but someone's going to mention something eventually, maybe in 200 years, when some hipster is going through the old catalogs. But technically, Deadpool is not Marvel, it's Fox, to be fair.
I know. I just call it Marvel so people know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I'm just being that dick.
I know. Well, speaking of Marvel, so far we had two other Marvel movies. I'm putting that in air quotes as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because if they are, we had Captain America Civil War and X-Men Apocalypse. Yeah. Let's start with X-Men Apocalypse, because that one is the more recent of the two.
I did not list this as one of my favorite movies of the year. I did not.
I did.
I did not particularly love this movie. I thought it was an okay movie. It was a serviceable movie. But I think that it was just a sign that the Bryan Singer X-Men formula is officially getting tired.
Mm-hmm.
Things just sort of happened for no reason, or just to let Wolverine be in the movie. Spoilers, he's in the movie.
It's been out for a while.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Do you think he should not really return as a director?
I think he should have left after Days of Future Past. It would have been a great way to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, I wouldn't have to think about Bryan Singer touching boys in the middle of shooting X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably because Days of Future Past was such a success.
Yeah.
Probably keep him on. I enjoyed Apocalypse overall because I was not that familiar with the X-Men films, so this was like one of the first ones I saw in a long time where it was fresh, it was a new release, and I went to see it, and I was, having such a great time, and especially since recently I've gotten into Marvel movies, so I was already, used to that, they have some serious and they have some comical stuff, so it was just a joy for me to watch, a new Marvel movie, because I remember when Days of Future Past came out, but I was not really up for it. In fact, I did not see it when it came out. And then Apocalypse came out. I loved it so much. I went back to watch Days of Future Past, and I really enjoyed it. And I would love, well, I would say love to watch all the past X-Men films. I've heard that there are a few that are not that great.
Yeah, it's
particularly Last Stand and Origins.
Yeah.
Oh, and I did watch First Class as well.
Yeah. personally, I think that First Class is the best movie in the series.
Really?
Yeah, just because it's Matthew Vaughn directed it. Some fresh blood, fresh new take on the characters. The first time that we get to see Fassbender and McAvoy as those two iconic characters, but we're talking about this year, so I won't go too deep into that.
Okay.
But yeah, Civil War obviously was amazing.
I've probably crowned it, along with another movie we might mention later, as my favorite movie of this year so far.
Yeah. I'm hard pressed to agree with you on that one. It was just so morally and physically engaging. It made you think. It made you gasp. It made you laugh.
It made you care. It made
Yeah.
you not side with one another, but it made you
Yeah.
see from all perspectives. Tony and Cap are both right.
That made you. It made you think about. It made you. It's sort of weird to think that a movie with two pajama mans fighting each other that you nearly cried one or two times during the movie, but it happened. At least to me. I know some people might not get emotional during it, and that's fine. But I mean, I've been attached to these characters my entire life, well beyond before 2008 when these characters, when Iron Man first came out.
So to see these two, smack each other was
Yeah.
just, it was
I
heartbreaking.
mean, I saw it in the comic book Civil War, but and that one was arguably more so because it was on such a more far grander scale. But this one was strangely large yet intimate at the same time, and they made the disagreement between Iron Man and Captain America so much more personal by adding in spoilers that I won't mention here. But yeah, it's.
Well, let me ask you this,
Okay.
because I know this was on quite a few people's mind, myself, the inclusion of the new characters, Black Panther and Spider-Man. How did you feel about their inclusion?
I thought that it's a perfect Black Panther setup, and I'm really excited to see his movie, which is going to be directed by Ryan Coogler, and according to Kevin Feige, will be a 90% African American cast.
Base cast.
Yes. While Spider-Man, of course, actually has me excited for a new Spider-Man movie. After Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2, I never thought that I'd say that again for at least 10 years, but it's hardly 3 or 4 years. It's not even 2 years later.
Yeah.
Really, and
That we got a good Spider-Man.
and here I am saying that I'm very excited for where Spider-Man is going.
Yeah, I'm excited too because I didn't know who Tom Holland was. And,
I don't think anyone did, if we're
and-
being honest with ourselves.
Right, I know he had been like some dramatic films before that, but now he's definitely catapulted to success. And I told you before seeing this movie, Chadwick Boseman was not one of my favorite actors.
Mhm.
I did not particularly like him in Get On Up, the James Brown film, and I thought he was okay in 42, the Jackie Robinson film. He definitely suited the part well. So to see him, really surprised me. Really made me clap and just say, "Yeah, I'm ready for more Black Panther."
I think that where Chadwick Boseman in his previous roles has shined has been his character work, and it definitely shone through in his portrayal of Black Panther this time around. The only thing I'm bummed about is I have to wait till 2018 to see it.
Yeah. Give me another one movie that you really liked this year.
I really enjoyed 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Me too. That was a surprise for me.
I was not a big. Were you a big fan of the first Cloverfield movie? I wasn't.
I don't remember. I think I remember seeing it, but it's been so long I have to rewatch it. I went in this one, just people were like, no, it's just, it's a good standalone movie. Just go watch it. So I did, and I knew about the Cloverfield verse, and I was on the edge of my seat watching this movie.
Yeah, I
What about, did you like or hate Cloverfield?
I did.
I know it's kind of a polarizing film.
J.J. Abrams, either the director,
He produced
the
it.
producer of the film, recently said on a podcast, the Nerdist podcast, that on the world during the world premiere for Cloverfield, he took his father to go see it, and his father stepped out to go vomit.
Really? Well,
Yes, because of motion sickness.
well, oh yeah, okay,
I did not have a dissimilar experience to
yeah.
Cloverfield. However, 10 Cloverfield Lane was a brilliant, tense, claustrophobic, nightmare fuel movie.
And shows that John Goodman is a creepy MFer.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it up until the very end where that twist came in, and it was just. It made sense, but
Was
it
it
just.
executed not right?
No, it's just. It didn't fit with the rest of the movie.
Oh. Yeah.
I'm not going to tell. Let's not talk about how.
No, all right, all right. We won't go
But
there.
those of you that have seen it, you know what we're talking about. If you disagree, comment and give us feedback.
Mm-hmm.
So we can get more of those
Sweet comments.
clicks, baby. Sweet clicks.
Well, to your point, 10 Cloverfield Lane, like I said, I went in just being like, okay, people say it was a good standalone thriller. I watched it. It had been so long since I'd seen Cloverfield to the point where I almost kind of forgot about it. And I could just sit there and enjoy. And you're right, it's claustrophobic. It's in one place. There really is just three people in the entire film: John Goodman, Mary Elizabeth Weinstein, and John Gallagher Jr. And what I really loved about this movie, kind of similar to what we were talking about earlier with Civil War, is that John Goodman, without saying too much, is that you kind of sway with him too. Half of the film you disagree with him, and then at some points you do agree with him with the things that he's doing. And the things he's doing, anyone look at be like, oh, that's so wrong. But then he makes good points about it, and then there's some proof to back it up. I mean, again, no spoilers here, but throughout the constant film, I was like, screw you, buddy, or yeah, I'm with you, buddy. Like, the whole film kind of messed with my mind. And that's what I really dug about 10 Cloverfield Lane. And especially Mary Elizabeth Weinstein. Like, I had known her from Scott Pilgrim versus the World, but this really just proved that it was like, yeah, I'll see her in more kick-ass movies.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing her in more. I'm sure that she'll get more work because of this movie. But yeah, I have nothing negative to say about that movie. Besides that, would you like to move on?
Sure.
What's another movie this year that came out that you liked?
Well, I mentioned it earlier, so I'll go ahead and mention it. When I said that Captain America Civil War is tied for a film for Best of the Year, my other one would be Zootopia.
Okay.
Those two are honestly I cannot pick between the two which one I like better. Zootopia, I saw it just... I remember the trailers did nothing for me. The first trailer was just in the city of Zootopia. It was characters, blah, 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 and you just saw the characters. You didn't see them talk or anything. And then the second trailer was that scene in the DMV, and I was like, oh my god, this is so boring. And then I saw it, and then, yeah.
I loved that second trailer. That's what sold me on it. You're right, that first trailer was just nothing.
Yeah.
It was just basically like if someone animated an elevator pitch meeting about the movie.
That's what it was. It did nothing for me.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like my experience with Zootopia was soured a bit because when I went to go see it, I made the mistake of going opening day, and it was like right around the time when kids were getting out of school.
I think it was spring break they released the movie.
I don't remember, but basically it was just nothing but little kids. Like the whole theater smelled like diapers. It was just rough, and like kids kept whining during it. But I did enjoy the movie overall. I thought that it was an oddly poignant movie about police and racial profiling. I did think that it drug on quite a bit, though, towards the end, just because I felt like the movie was about to reach a natural conclusion, and then they're like, nope, that's just the end of Act 4 of 7. But it was fairly predictable, if we're being honest. I personally knew what was going to happen the second that you saw that she first got to the Capitol and you met the up being the villain. We won't spoil it.
I will not spoil it. I'll bleep that out.
The person that we met, I thought that the minute that you first met the person that became the villain, I knew it from that second.
I kind of knew too, but I was very curious to see how it was going to play out. And the way it played out, I wasn't expecting it to.
I expected it to play out about that same way once I had figured out plan. It was roughly very predictable to me, but I thought that it was a good movie for kids and just a good movie overall. I look forward to seeing Zootopia 2 when it comes out. They have confirmed it.
Give it to me. I want it.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of which, it has nothing to do with this year, but today they officially confirmed Wreck-It Ralph 2 is coming.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, and anyone who knows me knows that I love Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is why I was very sad when we talked about Pixar winning Oscars that it lost the Oscar to Brave. I was very upset about that.
Dumb.
Well, anyway,
Dumb movie.
Well, anyway, speaking of Disney, also this year, we're gonna have a couple live Disney films. I mean, tomorrow we're getting the BFG and Legend of Tarzan, but we also had the Jungle Book out this year.
Yeah. This is I personally have hated all of the live action iterations of these Disney classics.
Like last year we had Cinderella.
Cinderella. Then before that there was some Maleficent, which they're making a sequel to. Can you believe that?
I mean, I'm sure it made a lot of money, but
yeah, but it's just who cares?
And I know, I don't. I didn't even see it.
Yeah,
that tells you anything.
Yeah, I didn't see it either. If I'm being not in theaters, I saw it on cable, and it was basically just like a rape recovery movie. It's very weird.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the Jungle Book.
Yeah.
I thought it was perfectly cast. I thought the CGI was beautiful, and I was very confused at certain parts. What was CG and what wasn't? Yeah,
I went back to watch it a second time after I had already learned that most of it was shot on a soundstage, and I was like, no, I don't believe this had to be filmed in a jungle.
This movie is what Life of Pi should have been.
Oh, really?
I personally hated the CG in Life of Pi. It was so obvious and painful, and maybe it was because it wasn't shot on a soundstage.
It was shot.
Because when, like, that opening scene when they showed all the animals hanging out and the animals are clearly CG, but the backgrounds are completely real, it was so painful to watch. But maybe because everything in this was CG, it all blended together. It all blended together and looked perfect. But I really loved it. The only things that I didn't like was sort of the shoehorning, except for the Baloo scene. The shoehorning in of the classic songs. Yeah, I did. The songs almost felt out of place. It felt uncomfortable and not in the ways that they always intended. But it was a visual masterpiece, and another reason why Jon Favreau is the master of the current master of the blockbuster, if you ask me. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we can complain on songs, but who doesn't want to hear Bill Murray sing "The Bare Necessities"? I really don't. I thought he was so off key. Oh my god! Right, but even was he just as off key as Christopher Walken doing "I Want to Be Like You"? Okay, he wasn't even singing that. He wasn't singing that at all. But it was so much fun to watch. Yeah. But Christopher Walken do, hey kid, my ears got ears. I'm personally calling it though. When CinemaSins hits that, they're going to do the ass watch scene from Pulp Fiction over as the little as King Louis. Oh, please, CinemaSins. No doubt you're listening to this. Please do that. No, I have doubts that they're listening to this. I have lots of doubts. They're not listening to this. No, they're not. But I'm calling it here. Yeah. All right. If any of the 12 of you also watch CinemaSins, which I'm sure you have. If you don't, check it out. But I'm calling it here, folks. If that happens, pick up that phone because I called it. Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah. Jungle Book was just incredible. What's another one that's on your list? I saw The Nice Guys twice. Yeah, we saw it together. Yes, we did. That was my second time seeing it. I really enjoyed it. I did not love it, but I thought that it was a really good movie and definitely a standout from this year so far. It was lots of fun. The buddy cop interactions was great. The only issue I had was just the ending was just a little rough for me. And it's not in a bad way. It's just the fact that it was rough. My issue with it was some of the exposition in the middle, where it was sort of how you learned why things were happening. And as I mentioned, we saw it in the kind of theater where you recline in your chair, maybe because I was just so relaxed that I kind of just stopped caring when all the
cool action stuff wasn't happening. That was just like, oh, okay, what's next? But that was my only real issue with it.
Yeah. After seeing it 2 times, I can definitely tell you that you're not wrong about how clunky that exposition got.
Yeah.
It was presented in a sort of noir style, while everything else seemed like a 70s grindhouse buddy cop movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it just seemed like a really loose plot. I think that if they were to do a sequel, which I've heard that they're talking about it right now, that hopefully they would get a much better case to solve out. But you can't deny that the chemistry was fantastic.
No, I not at all. Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe. Like if they do confirm a sequel, I'm all in. I want to see these guys kick some more ass. And you know me, I'm a sucker for 70s music and look. So, and I totally bought that Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling had time traveled back to 1977.
Well, for the record, people that haven't seen it, there's no time travel in this movie.
I know.
Okay.
But I totally bought that. That's where it was filmed.
You bought that it took place in the 70s.
Yeah.
I especially love that just because of the set decorations. Even in scenes when they're just walking around LA, they even pass by the old Tower Records, which is now not there. But
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, there was a Tower Records that they passed by that's the exact same location where the Tower Records was, and it looks exactly how it did look then. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a very, very good movie, and it was a very good, sort of a crime comedy, I would say, more of a crime drama.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would really look forward to if they made a second one.
The only bad part about that was Paul Thomas Anderson probably is not going to do it because he said before that he does not do sequels.
Oh, there was talk he might direct the second one.
No, well, he wrote and directed this one.
No, Shane Black directed The Nice Guys.
Oh my God, I'm so stupid. It felt so much like Inherent Vice that I just confused it.
Okay, no, it's all right.
Another movie that I enjoyed was Finding Dory.
Yes, I enjoyed Finding Dory as well. It was so. I mean, can you believe it's been 13 years since Finding Nemo?
Dude, I feel old every time someone says that.
I know, it's crazy, but it was. Yeah, at first, I was a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, I was almost hesitant because Dory was like one of those like cute side figures that would be like, of course she's gonna get her own movie, but like, would she really want? Like, how could she carry a whole story? But of course, seeing this, I was proven wrong. I thought there was still a lot of emotion. I did mention that I didn't find it as emotionally investing as Finding Nemo, but the emotions were still very much there.
Yes. We talked about this. I compared it to Toy Story 2 in terms of the pantheon of Pixar movies because while it was emotional, it wasn't very emotional, and its main purpose in the grand scheme of things seemed to be just to add more characters to the pantheon of this certain corner of the Pixar universe, and it seems like this will not be the last time that we see them. But I don't know. Personally, I think you were right. Dory can't handle her own movie. To me, she shared every single time that she was alone on screen seemed to be heavily dependent on her on her freaking out about her memory loss or her having a sudden flashback about her parents. And every scene that wasn't that, she was with a supporting character, which helped bring the movie back to focus.
And friggin' Hank the Septopus, great character.
Yeah, and voiced by Ed O'Neill.
I want him to have his own movie.
Yeah, I feel like I want to know why he's a Septopus. That's probably really dark, but I want to watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it feels like they just went through the ABC pantheon of actors and just scooped out like half of Modern Family for this. But it was a good movie. It's not great. I thought it was very good though.
Right, and then like I said, the next ones we have are Cars 3, which I'm hoping, of course, is better than Cars 2. And then after that, we have a film called Coco, which I don't think we know that much about.
I thought it was
I think it's about a boy.
I thought it was Moana.
I think that's just Disney.
That's Disney. Yeah.
Just by itself. But yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. I think speaking of animals, we recently did a movie review of this the Lobster. That's on that's
Yes.
on my channel if you guys want to check it out. Remember that video gets 40 likes. We will do a spoiler review of that one.
Oh yeah.
And
We
we
only
did.
have 38 left.
Woohoo! Hopefully more by the time this goes up. But yeah, obviously I said everything I could in that review. I thought it was the most artsy film of the year that I've seen so far. Um,
There's
and
artsier, I guarantee you, but that's probably the most artsy mainstream movie.
oh yeah, yeah, just really good movie.
It reminded me a lot of a Wes Anderson movie. Just the way it was shot, the way it was composed. But yeah, just go watch the review that we did if
Yeah.
you're interested.
Yeah, we won't say a lot here.
Yeah.
Couple other films that I just have on my list that I kind of just talk about because they were kind of like a Lobster. They were limited releases that sort of got wide releases. So I say sort of because they either were like one or two theaters. There was a movie called Demolition. Have you heard of this movie? It stars Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes, I saw the trailer for it, and I was just like, I'm done. I'm good.
Didn't look interesting to you?
No, just because it seemed like it was just another one of those Donnie Darko type movies. It's like, ooh, so deep because emotions, guys.
And stuff.
Yeah, like.
Well, I will
it's
say
just-
what you saw in Jake Gyllenhaal's character in the trailer. That's pretty much how he is throughout the entire movie.
Oh
Now,
my God.
that's not to say that I didn't enjoy because I just like Jake Gyllenhaal as an actor. So I really enjoyed seeing him. There's not a lot of really that many well-known people in this movie. There's Naomi Watts and Chris Cooper. But a very good movie that I'm glad I got to see. That wasn't just kept to just a few film festivals. Also, a film called Eye in the Sky. I don't know if you heard this one also.
Yeah, you told me about it, but
It's,
I don't know,
it's
it just sounds like a snooze fest.
it wasn't so much a snooze fest. It wasn't anything like what's the word, daring. Like it was very good for what it was doing. I guess is the best way to put it. It's kind of like
compare it to Bridge of Spies.
well they both are similar in terms of they're both war films, but they're more about behind the scenes. Like in Tom Hanks' and Bridge of Spies, he's never on a battlefield. He negotiates between countries. In this movie, Helen Mirren plays a colonel who is in charge of a drone mission, and of course the drone is overseas, but she still controls it here in the U.S. So it's more of what war does to people, even if they're not on the battlefield. I guess it's the best way to put it. Aaron Paul's also in it. He plays the pilot of the drone, again from across the seas. And the late great Alan Rickman is in this movie. I believe it's his last live action appearance. Plays a lieutenant general. Because so many people have to work together, it's his sort of responsibility to get everyone on board, kind of like Tom Hanks in Bridge of Spies. So in a sense, they're both similar movies, and they both deal with, like I said, what war does to people who are not just soldiers, and also the fact that we see these people who deal with wars and government activities as heroes, but they are just people. Tom Hanks, you could see, his family life wasn't that great in Bridge of Spies, and in this movie, Alan Rickman's family life isn't that great as well. So I really like them both. And like I said, there was nothing too daring about this film, but the 2 hours or whatever watching it was 2 hours well spent.
Okay.
So those are the last, and I do have one more movie to mention. I posted a review for this very quickly, Sing Street, which was an English, Irish, Scottish, I don't know which one it was. I didn't pay attention. Just shows how much I really cared. Where it was directed by John Carney, who did Begin Again with Mark Ruffalo and Keira Knightley, and the movie Once. They're all music movies, and this one is essentially the same. But it follows similar beats, but it does it well to the point where I wasn't just like, okay, this is cliche. So I did want to give that one a mention. So those I think are all the really good ones that I can name
Okay.
on my list. You got any more that you want to mention?
No. What movies are you looking forward to for the rest of this year?
Okay. Well, the big ones in December we get Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. In November we're getting both Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them and Doctor Strange. I'm trying to think of like some smaller ones. There's a film that's coming out called La La Land, directed by Damien Chazelle, who did Whiplash.
Okay.
There hasn't been a trailer released for this one, but apparently it's about Ryan Gosling, him having a good year. I hope he's
Okay.
good in that one. He plays a jazz pianist who falls in love with an actress played by Emma Stone. And J.K. Simmons is in the movie. I don't know his character, but hey, J.K. Simmons and Damien Chazelle together again. I'll pay to see
Yep.
that.
I'm really looking forward to a movie called. We saw the trailer for it when we went to go see Lobster. It comes out in a couple weeks. It's called Hunt for the Wilder People.
It reminded me of this
It's
one.
directed by Taika Waititi.
Oh, did What We Do in the
who,
Shadows,
who
right?
did What We Do in the Shadows and is going to start shooting principal production for Thor Ragnarok on July 4th.
I'm excited.
And this movie looks fantastic. It looks like a sort of weird coming-of-age story about paternity and survival, and about living on your own, sort of living with freedom. And it's shot almost exactly like a Wes Anderson movie, at least from what the trailer has shown me. And it's got that classic Taika Waititi sense of wit, which we saw in What We Do in the Shadows. So I am ecstatic for it. I cannot wait, even though it's only going to be about a week. And of course, like everyone else, I'm excited for Doctor Strange. And that's pretty much all that I can think of off the top of my head.
Where do you stand on
I'm cautiously optimistic for Suicide Squad.
Really?
Yes.
Because of the reshoots that have been announced?
No, reshoots happen for every movie, man. But just the Suicide Squad has never been my favorite group of characters, and it seems to me like their whole attitude is summed up when Harley Quinn breaks a window to a jewelry store, bends over seductively to pick up said jewelry and says, "We're bad guys, it's what we do." Which just, I'm pretty sure I could see my brain for a split second that my eyes rolled when I saw that. It was just painful, man.
Well, I'm still ready for that one when it comes out.
I'm hoping that it's going to be good. I don't think anyone's ever going to wish for a bad movie, but I'm cautiously optimistic because who does that? David Ayer?
David Ayer is directing.
Yeah, all he's done before is that Tank movie with Shia LaBeouf.
Fury.
Yes, which I believe also tanked at the box office.
Yeah, I don't remember too much fanfare about that one.
Yeah, but if I'm wrong, be that internet guy and comment and tell me that I'm wrong.
Yeah. And I do have two more films I want to mention. They're kind of smaller films. One is called Nerve. I don't know if you've heard of this one.
I heard about that. I saw the trailer for it. Not excited. It just seems like it doesn't know what it wants to be based off the trailer.
Okay.
Because it starts off as like this sort of fun YOLO type movie, like, okay, that's cool. And then it slowly turns into like this weird commentary on the 99% or 1% type deal, like a weird sort of Hunger Games but not Hunger Games thing.
Like in the real world.
Yeah, and it just doesn't. I could believe that millennials did that until it went to that darkened area. For y'all that don't believe me, think I'm being a dick, watch the trailer. Tell me there's not 3 different tones in that trailer.
There are more. I will give you that. And then the other one is one that's coming out in October called The Accountant. Which we don't really know much about this one. There was a trailer. The trailer was more style over substance, but it was a teaser trailer.
It looks like Ben Affleck shot that entire movie during that one Batman v Superman interview where he looked really sad.
Oh,
that's just him there.
The sad Affleck one.
Yeah. He looks like he's just he researched autism and OCD for like 2 minutes and then went, okay, I'll act like that for the whole movie. And if this movie was just upfront and honest, like, oh, we're trying to make a new James Bond type movie, that'd be fine.
Hmm.
But it looks like this movie has something to say about autism and OCD, and it seems like some very treacherous waters
Good
to
point.
go through. Speaking of treacherous waters, have you seen The Shallows yet?
That one that just came out, right?
Yes, I have not gotten to see that, but I am very excited to see it. I don't know when or where.
I'd be curious, and I'm definitely curious to see The Accountant, Nerve, and a lot of other films that I mentioned. How about to wrap this up? We both just say what so far is our favorite movie, or what we think is the best movie. I know for me, I mentioned it's a tie between Captain America: Civil War and Zootopia. What about you, Luke?
Um, on filmmaking principle, I would have to say Boy and the Beast, but I had the most fun at Civil War, so take with that what you will.
All
You
right.
got two, so I get two.
All right, that works.
No,
All
but why are you looking forward to Nerve?
I'm curious. It has my curiosity because I like that concept about what people will do for money. I've always just been fascinated by that concept. And Dave Franco and Emma Roberts, they have a lot of crap to their name. They haven't done. They have done their
I
share.
think
They have
that's-
done their share of good
I think
stuff.
that when they're allowed to shine, they do great. Have you seen Scream Queens?
No, but
Emma Roberts is in
Yeah,
that.
I know she's in that one.
Yeah, and she's fantastic in it. She's like a Valley Girl version of Cersei from Game of Thrones. It's great. You don't watch Game of Thrones.
No, I
But
don't.
those of you listening, you know what I'm talking about. All 12 of you.
But that's why I said I'm curious about Nerf, because I've always just liked that concept of what people will do for money. And I'm curious to see those two really, really shine. I think this is the movie that they could really impress me. I mean, I don't hate them by any means, but it's like, let me see something really good from them.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm looking forward to that one.
The only apprehension, other than the tonal disconnect that I have with it, is that I saw that movie done to much more fun with the Crank movies. Have you seen those?
The Crank movies?
Yeah. It's two Jason Statham movies where the whole point is that Jason Statham has to keep his heart rate up. And so he ends up like doing all this actiony stuff, and he does all these weird, funny stuff. Like I think he has sex with a girl on the in the middle of a racetrack.
Well, that's exhilarating.
I mean, just weird shit that he has to do basically everywhere just to survive. It's like Speed, but for your heart.
But for your heart.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our wrap up of the best of the year so far. So, listeners, all 12 of you, as Luke likes to remind me, what did you think? And what are some of your favorite movies? Let us know down below, and let us know what you're looking forward to. So,
if you're the 13th person to view, I want you to comment.
Please.
And just
say 13th view.
Yeah, I will let you talk as much shit about me as you want.
Go for it. All right. Well, Luke, as always, thank you so much. And thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.